past the hour. Now, it could have been New Macedonia or Upper Macedonia, but after months of discussion and 27 years of argument, it's going to be Northern Macedonia. We're actually talking about what we currently know as the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, former Yugoslav state on the border with Greece. Greece's northern province is called Macedonia as well, and that was the rub. Now, fortunately, the governments have come together. They've been debating what it should be called, and they've come to this decision, which now has to be approved by both Macedonian and Greek Parliament. Let's speak to the Deputy Prime Minister for European Integration of Macedonia, Bujar Osmani, in the capital, Skopje. What's your reaction to this agreement? It's taken a long time, but people from the outside might think, why did it take so long to come up with such a small change?
Well, it was not an easy dispute. It's quite emotional for people here and there, and it was complex 25 or 27-year-old dispute between the two countries that blocked our perspective toward NATO and EU, and a lot of bilateral burden between our two countries. But fortunately, with brave leadership in both countries, yesterday, we reached a groundbreaking agreement for the name of the country, which will be actually North Macedonia.
North Macedonia. The politicians have agreed. Sorry, Minister. The politicians have agreed, but there's still a vote needed, a popular vote in one case, I think. Do you think that approval will be forthcoming? Because, as you said, it's a heartfelt thing. This excites emotions, and people might not follow the political agreement.
There's going to be a need for a referendum in my country in October. But I think people are so frustrated from the status quo in our progress, political, economical, and people are worried even for security issues, because we are at the geopolitical crossroad. And we have a fear that if we not anchor ourselves into NATO very soon, then other geopolitical players will see this country as a fertile ground for their political maneuver. And that's why people want as soon as possible to join NATO and to start this process of EU. Yes, it's going to be difficult, it's emotional, but the future, we should concentrate on our future rather than our emotions of the past.
Just draw those lines for us, because that is interesting. It's from the outside, it can seem just a very lengthy, rather sort of local argument over a name, but you're talking there about big things, about the umbrella of protection for your country and where you integrate and who looks after you and what sort of a European nation you see yourself as. What has been blocking it up to now? Has it been Greece, to be frank?
Greece has its own arguments. We have our own arguments, but finally we have calibrated these differences, and we have now a mutually acceptable solution.
You want to join the clubs that Greece is already part of, that is,
yes,
NATO and the EU.
For us, NATO is to be or not to be. We are in a very difficult geopolitical region and difficult geopolitical context. This is not only a bilateral issue. This is a geopolitical issue.
Why are you expressing a sense of threat, Minister? That's interesting. You're talking about this as if it's almost an existential issue. Maybe it is, but tell us why.
There was a statement from a former American secretary who said that our country is at the front line between the West and the East, at the crossroad. Usually in traffic, accidents happen in traffic. And we are afraid that if we don't soon put ourselves into this security umbrella of NATO, we can be ground for geopolitical maneuvers. And that's why we think it's a security measure, but also it's a political and economic measure. Foreign direct investment depends their investment on our political stability and on our future. So everything is linked. The cohesion in the country, interethnic cohesion, is based on this narrative of NATO and EU joining. 80% of our people are in favor of NATO and EU. And if we fail in this process, then ethnic groups in the country will going to concentrate in their own different narratives that can be contradicted with each other. Well, and therefore it's important to cultivate this glue of ethnic groups, and this is NATO and EU.
Well, it's very interesting. What's in a name, we often ask. Quite a lot is the answer, certainly listening to you. Thank you indeed, Deputy Prime Minister, responsible for European integration for Macedonia, former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, soon to be North Macedonia, and not, we understand, New Macedonia or Upper Macedonia. That vote, as he said, in October, that was Bujar Osmani, that's the vote in Macedonia. There's also a vote needed in Greece as well.